morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Robert Guido, and I'm an attorney. I practice law here in Essex County, New Jersey, and sometimes I go outside the county of Essex. I go to Morris County and Passaic County and Hudson County. But I'm here today to give a little bit of advice to help the Haitian community. I was brought up in the city of Newark. My grandparents came from Europe. They didn't speak the English language. They didn't know about the American culture here in the United States. They oftentimes were confused and didn't know what their rights were. And sometimes they got into trouble and they couldn't afford attorneys, and that didn't bode well for them. But I'm here as an attorney to try and help people that come into this country from a foreign land and maybe are confused about their rights and don't know areas of the criminal law. Now, I've been practicing criminal law both as a prosecutor and as a defense attorney for the last 30 years. Before I practiced law, I was a teacher in the Puerto Rican community in the South Bronx of New York. So I know what it is to be a disadvantaged person and a person who might be overwhelmed by the complexity of the criminal law. Now, for example, suppose you have a relative who's arrested for an armed robbery. What do? He's in jail. Who do you call? Do you call someone that can help you and your family, or do you call someone who can get you a lawyer? And you need a lawyer. It's a serious offense. And your relative is sitting there in jail. What do? You get the lawyer's number and you call. And that lawyer can call the jail. And a judge will be contacted. And then a bail can be set. Now, hopefully, the crime is not that serious. Sometimes, if it's not a serious crime, let's say not an armed robbery, but a disorderly persons offense, it could be handled in a municipal court, where the crimes are a lot less serious and the bails are a lot lower. However, as I said before, an armed robbery is serious. It may go from the municipal level all the way up to the county. And if it goes to the county level, here's where you're really going to need a good criminal defense attorney to protect that person who got arrested. You shouldn't listen to any relative. You shouldn't listen to a jailhouse lawyer. You shouldn't listen to your uncle who seems to know it all. What you need is an experienced attorney like myself with 30 years experience on both sides. Now, when the case goes up to the county, if it's a serious case, you could resolve it in a couple of ways, maybe more than a couple of ways. But one of the ways it's resolved is by talking to the prosecutor, getting the police reports, seeing the strength or the weaknesses of the state's case, and go into plea negotiations with the prosecutor. However, if your relative is not guilty, the case should be investigated, and investigated carefully. And when it's investigated, all kinds of things could turn up that will be helpful to your relative. If you can't work out a plea arrangement, the case will then go to the grand jury. If it goes to the grand jury, the police testify, or the so-called victim testifies, and your relative may get indicted. If he gets indicted, your relative then goes to an arraignment. If he pleads not guilty, he can go to trial. If he goes to trial, he needs a good defense attorney who knows the law, who has experience, who can cross-examine witnesses to get at the truth and hopefully to exonerate your loved one. Now, I've been doing this a long time. I know something about the Haitian community. My son-in-law went to Haiti. He brought a bunch of sneakers. He went down there with Wyclef Jean, who, as you know, is a big star, a big person in the Haitian community. I would like to help the Haitian community because I know what it is to come from a foreign country and not to know everything that one should know. If you want, you can call me Moila Pum Medeo Lilem. My phone number is 973-242-0760. Thank you for listening.